Hey everyone, my name is David Dunbar, or the Theme Park Evangelist. I just did a YouTube video discussing Disney's big announcement regarding the grand opening of Remy's Ratatouille Adventure that is going to open on Friday, October 1st, 2021, along with Le Crêperie de Paris. Le Crêperie de Paris. Sorry, I cannot talk. And I will be at Epcot on October 1st, 2021 to ride the brand new Remy's Ratatouille Adventure and to also eat at the brand new restaurant that is going to open in the France area that day. I also mentioned in my last YouTube video, more than likely all the YouTubers will be at Magic Kingdom on opening day to get that exclusive 50th anniversary merchandise you won't be able to find any other time. I'm hoping they'll have it up more than just a day. I'm hoping that they'll have it up for at least a week because I plan on going to the Magic Kingdom the very next day, Lord willing. Have to see what my uncle has to say about that. I also mentioned that besides the fact that I will be there on October 1st, I'll be flying into Tampa on September 30th, and TJ is going to come and pick me up, and we're going to go to Frostbite that night. Then we're going to stay at his place, and then I mentioned all the plans I had for October 1st, and then that I might be over at Universal the very next week, and that I'm going to fly back home on Thursday, October 7th. So that was all that I mentioned in the last YouTube video. And of course, last but not least, I mentioned that it was my very first YouTube video since I got back from Central Florida. So that being said, since there is so much to talk about with the fact that I just got back from Central Florida, let's start with my first topic, which is how does Florida feel about the pandemic, like face masks and social distancing versus Kentucky? So, as we know, Florida is a very, very conservative state. Kentucky is a red state as well. It is a Republican state. However, though, there is a liberal governor that is in power currently, which is why the state comes across more of a liberal state. But overall, I would say that there are more people here in Kentucky that would classify themselves as more conservative versus there are a lot more people down in Florida that you can definitely tell they're more conservative and do not believe in face masks. Now, from what I'm seeing, face masks do seem to be taken more seriously up here, and that's because of the fact that there is a liberal governor in power right now. His name is Governor Andy Beshear, and he is making it mandatory for the entire state to wear masks. If this was not the case, trust me right now, there would not be as many people wearing masks right now. Up until face masks became required statewide, there was not a lot of people wearing face masks. In fact, I was seeing a lot of people that were taking their business elsewhere because they did not feel like it was okay for a business to enforce them wearing a face mask. Unfortunately, there are some businesses that you can't really fight, like Costco or Sam's Club, because it's a membership place. And when you're a member, that place can tell you pretty much to do whatever they want. And there's nothing you can do about it except for tell them, well, I no longer wish to be a member, and that's fine. That's your choice. That's your prerogative. But as long as you're a member, you have to abide by their rules. Now, some places like Meijer or Publix, they really don't have that much power over you. If they tell you to put on a face mask, the easiest thing you can do is just walk out. Or you can even just choose to ignore them, because they really don't have that much power over you. Now, if you're an employee, that's different. But anyway, so as I mentioned, I just got back from Florida. So here in Kentucky, let's just start with Kentucky. Face masks, as I said, are very, very strict, and that's only because of the governor. Pretty much every single place you're going to walk into will require a face mask of some sort. we're pretty good about following the CDC guidelines, the Centers for Disease Control guidelines here, and of course Kentucky has some really strict guidelines as well. So places that you know for a fact that you have to wear a face mask into no matter what, Meijer is usually one of the top ones. Meijer is, I guess you could say, not just an essential business, but you could also say it's a liberal company up to a point. They are very strict about you wearing a face mask, especially their employees. Walmart, it depends on which state it's in. So here in Kentucky, it is required by law for you to wear a face mask into a Walmart. Places that I know for sure that you have to wear a face mask into the business up here would be Great Clips, Sports Clips, doctor's offices, all doctor's offices, and then of course you've got your car dealerships and stuff like that. All those places you have to wear a face mask, and then last but not least, your public libraries up here are all required. So doctor's offices are probably the most strict up here. When I went to go get my teeth cleaned back a few months ago or so, what they had me do was they had me call the office from my car, and they had me say, "Hey, I'm here for my appointment." They had sent me the email ahead of time, and they came outside and they got me. I did all my check-in in the car ahead of time. I think I did it all digitally. I didn't have to come in and write down anything. So I put on my face mask. I came in. I had my temperature checked, and they asked me a few questions. And then they had me come to the dentist chair, and then they had me lay down in the chair before they finally let me take off my face mask. Doctors' offices are slightly different, so you go inside, and before you can even get through the front door, you have to get your temperature checked, and you have to go through a health screening, and then you'll get a sticker that says screened, and then from there you have to tell them why you're even there before you can proceed to go to your appointment. If you fail the health screening, you cannot go to your appointment, which means that your doctor will have to do a video call with you over like your phone or your laptop or something. As long as you have a camera on your device, then they'll contact you that way. So I am with a company called St. Elizabeth Physicians. They're a very high-tech company. They make a lot of money, so they can afford all the fancy software. They probably make billions of dollars. I wouldn't be surprised. And I basically would do my pre-questions ahead of time, because I would always check myself in through the app, because they have their own app, and I would always do all the questions ahead of time. As long as I passed all of the questions, I was allowed to from there proceed to the doctor's office and come in. Now, one time they did kind of wait till the last minute, and I got as far as the doctor's office. I had been living with someone with COVID, as you guys remember, back in January. And they kind of waited till the last minute, called me and said, "Yeah, you can't come in. You can't even get through the front door." So they had me video call them later that afternoon. I told them I needed some time to get back home. They said, "Oh, take all the time you need." So I don't remember going home that day. I think I had to go to my church to clean. So what I ended up doing was I ended up just driving to my church. And after I had gotten lunch, and I went into a quiet room, and then I did a video call with my doctor right then and there. And it still costs you money to do these things, but at least you still get to see your doctor. No, it's not in person, but the important thing is you do get to talk to your doctor. Sports Clips and Great Clips is a little different here too. The way both Great Clips and Sports Clips here in Kentucky do things is very interesting. So you got Great Clips. You have to come inside, obviously, to just let them know. that you're there, and then they'll ask you where you parked, and then you'll tell them what your car looks like, or you'll even point it out to them. And then they'll tell you, okay, go back to your car, wait there, we're going to come and get you. So you'll go to your car, and they'll come and get you when they're ready. So you'll come in, and you'll stand in a circle until you're called. You'll keep your face mask on the entire time. When they do need a trim around your ears, they'll have you hold your fingers like right here at your nose, so the face mask will not come off. And you are not allowed to enter the business without a face mask, and if you do, they'll kick you right out. And I wouldn't even be surprised if they go as far as calling the police on you. I mean, they take it very strict or seriously. I don't know what the police could do. That's what I don't get. But to me, that's just overkill. And sports clips is even worse. So I'm sure they do all that stuff I just mentioned, which is have you come in, check in, and then go back to your car and wait there, and then they'll have you come back in. And I'm sure before that even happens, they have to do the whole health screening, and you have to pass the health screening. Sports clubs is way more strict. And if you do not pass the health screening, you gotta go. I mean, yeah, you could lie about it, but that's not going to help them out at all. I mean, let's just say you were living with someone with COVID and you came and you lied about it. Like, all you're going to do is cause problems. So, yeah, last time I went to sports clips, I had been living with someone with COVID, and they just booted me right out without any problems. They were like, go, right now. So I ended up going to Great Clips instead, where they don't do any of the health screening stuff. This was back when they were still allowing people to sit in the lobby, but there was like 2 chairs at the time. Now there's 0. They took all the chairs out. You have to wait in your car now. Pretty much everything these days you have to wait in your car. I'm even surprised that restaurants are still allowing people inside. Restaurants up here, you have to wear your face mask in the restaurant until you get to your table. Once you are seated at your table, then your face mask can come off. The only time you have to wear it is if you're walking around the restaurant and going to the restroom. People that have ignored that policy in the past have gotten thrown right out without any issues. So, yeah, you've got to respect the rules up here with that. So that's just how Kentucky does things. Now, Florida is very different. And that's why I was a bit shocked. And one last thing before I talk about Florida. Buffets here pretty much are non-existent. Let's just talk about CC's, which is pretty much one of the few buffets we have that actually still exists. So CC's, when you go in, you have to be wearing your face mask. You're not allowed to get your own plate at all. You get all your silverware handed to you in a little packet. And then the only thing that you're able to go and get from the condiment bar is napkins. And that's it. And that's over at the trash cans as well. You can still serve yourself soda, but that's about as far as they'll let you go. You can't get your own plate. You can't get your own pizza. You can't get your own salad. You can't get your own breadsticks or sauce for your pizza or whatever. You can't even get your own dessert. Someone has to do it for you. They'll throw you right out if you keep ignoring them. The first time they'll yell at you. The second time they'll go as far as throwing you right out. And they don't have any problems with that. It's quite strict up here. So when I went to Florida, this is basically what I discovered. So let's start with first thing Saturday morning, my very first official day in Central Florida, now that you've understood completely what it's like up here. And why it was a bit of a culture shock to me, you could say. So I walked into my former Golden Corral. So Golden Corrals up here do not exist right now because of the fact that everything was cafeteria style up here and nobody wanted to go to Golden Corral and have food served to them. I don't know how CC's is surviving, though they just filed for bankruptcy. So, like within the past month or so. So I went to the Golden Corral, and you were still required to wear a face mask. I didn't see a lot of people wearing it. And there is no such thing as 50% capacity down there. Here, it has to be 50% capacity because you're supposed to be every other table, and they only ignored that rule on the odd occasion. Now, down there, they're allowed to fill in every single table. So that was one of the first things I noticed. And then you were allowed to serve yourself food, but you had to have a napkin between your hand and the utensil. Now, to me, that's not a big deal. I think that's the way buffets should be. Up here, they cringe at that idea. They cringe at the idea of serving yourself food at a buffet. Most people won't even go to a buffet right now because it's so scary. So I'm hoping that maybe the Golden Corrals that went out of business around here will eventually bounce back, but we'll see. Depends on how things go, and I don't know right now. I mean, they might just be temporarily closed, but we'll see. But yeah, I am very thankful, at least, that I was able to go down to Florida and go to a buffet where I could actually serve myself food, which was excellent. I was very thankful for that. Where I was pretty much staying the entire time, face masks were not required whatsoever. So the very first place we went after Golden Corral, TJ and I, we went to the Arbondale Flea Market. They were not requiring face masks there. I was pretty much outside the entire time, so I will admit I did not wear a face mask at Arbondale Flea Market. I walked around that entire area, did not wear a face mask. Surprisingly, no one said anything to me. I did feel bad about it. But yeah, at least on my first day, for the most part, I did not wear a face mask. Now, it's going to get more interesting from here, I promise. So, I'm going to go through the entire trip and just put in fast forward. I had to spend most of it telling you guys what it's like here in Kentucky, since I don't have the trip to use as a reference. I just have to go by my experience. So, I also went to the Disney Character Warehouse that night. Now, they are not requiring face masks while walking around outside the Orlando, whatever you call it. I guess you could say the Orlando Mall, or no, that doesn't sound right. Hold on, let me pause this for a second and think. Now I remember, it's the Orlando Outlet Mall, the Orlando Premium Outlet Mall to be specific, that the Disney Character Warehouse in Orlando is at. You only had to wear your face mask inside of the buildings, which makes sense. I still wore my face mask the entire time with all the people that were out and about, because of the fact that it was in Orlando. And in the Orange County area, it is required by law to wear a face mask. Not by the state, by the county. By Orange County. So I was walking around wearing a face mask. We went to Disney Springs after that. And Disney is requiring face masks. Now, I have already talked about this kind of while I was there, but I want to elaborate more on it now that I'm at home and I can think better. So I did see that sign for Disney's or at Disney Springs not this past Saturday, but the Saturday before that. The only face masks they're requiring are the ones I normally wear, which are the disposable ones. They were allowing cloth masks. They were not allowing neck gaiters at all. Any face masks that were made out of mesh, not okay. And any kind of face mask with holes in it, not okay either. And then last but not least, we were not allowed to wear any kind of costume mask either. Those were also not acceptable as well. So there were only some face masks that Disney was allowing. That got a lot of attention on YouTube, more than I expected, which was surprising. And I was like, okay, that I did not know. And I actually got into a discussion with somebody about it as well on my Facebook page, so that was kind of interesting. So after that, we went to Red Robin, and we did have to wear a face mask in there, but after that, face masks kind of went out the window. The next day, we went all the way up to Clearwater. I never wore a face mask pretty much the entire time. I never wore one over to the airport because we were outside the whole time. Then we went to the beach. I never wore one over there either. There were thousands of people at the beach. And most of them were not wearing a face mask. It was probably one of the most disgusting things I've ever seen because of what I'm used to. I'm so used to everybody wearing a face mask. Yeah, we're outside in the open air in the hot sunshine, but still, I mean, it was about 90 degrees that day, so I don't think there was any COVID that was lingering around, but you never know. At least I never got it, so I mean, it's been over a week now since that happened. But yeah, I mean, it literally has been over a week. But yeah, besides that, we never really did anything after that. I think the only place we stopped at was a Wawa, and TJ was the only one that went inside. Then we stopped in Winter Haven. I dropped my brother and his friends off. And then we went back to TJ's place, and he made dinner. So I never went anywhere. I was so tired. I ended up going to sleep early. And then, of course, the next day we went to Disney's Hollywood Studios. Once again, same face mask policy as Saturday at Disney Springs. Don't need to go more into that. Now, this is where it gets a little more interesting. So, the face mask policy for Disney did change while I was driving through Florida. And I did talk about this before already while I was in Florida, but I'm going to talk about it again. While we were driving through Florida, back a couple of weeks ago or so, Disney did change their policy saying that you have to be physically actively eating or drinking even while sitting down at a sit-down restaurant in order for them to allow you to take your face mask down. So you can't go into a Disney sit-down restaurant currently at this time and just pull your face mask down as soon as you sit down like you can up here. Now you have to be wearing it the entire time until they actually bring you food and drinks. I actually know people here that are so strict about face masks that they figured out a way for them to still eat and drink and keep the face mask on. They'll pull the face mask back just a little bit and they'll put the drink in their mouth. They'll have like a straw and then they could stick in there. I personally don't mind pulling my face mask down below my chin, just kidding, chin, and then I'll, as long as I'm physically actively eating or drinking, I will eat and drink right then and there. My work technically does not allow you to walk around and physically actively eat or drink. People do it anyway. Not referring to the customers, obviously. I'm referring to the employees. I don't know if you got that or not, but the employees are not really supposed to be walking around physically, actively eating or drinking with their face mask down. But I figured out how to get away with it. As long as I go off in a quiet area of the store, I can usually get away with it. Normally, when I start pulling my face mask down and heading somewhere, I'm on my way to the back break room. I always go to the slow side of the store, which is the left side of the store. I'll go make a quick purchase and then I'll go straight back. And from there, I'm safe. As long as I'm in the break room, I'm allowed to have my face mask down the entire time. As long as I'm on my lunch. Also, another nice thing about where I work is if I'm on a break or if I'm off the clock, as soon as I go outside, I can take my face mask off. If I'm outside on the clock, like I'm not referring to on a break, I have to have the face mask on. So they do have some leniency towards us. Definitely a little more so than Disney is. Like Disney is like, now they're saying you have to be physically actively eating or drinking in order for them to allow you to take that face mask off. And now you have to be stationary. Well, I mean, you've had to be stationary for a while. But now you have to be physically actively eating or drinking, even in a sit-down restaurant. I know, it's crazy. According to TJ's aunt, people have been coming into the restaurants and immediately yanking their face masks off. And that's the reason why Disney decided to change the policy, so nobody would be doing that anymore. It does feel strange. Eating at 50's Primetime Cafe was definitely not the same last Monday, that's for sure. I would definitely say that it was a very interesting experience. But yeah, I'm just really glad that I have plenty of time before I go back to Disney. Who knows what's going to change at Disney before I go back again? I guess we'll find out. Let's see here. I went to Disney again the next day. I felt like we got away with a little bit more the next day because of the fact that when we went into Cosmic Ray Starlight Cafe and had our packed lunch, I immediately got us a corner over by the window where Cinderella's castle was looking into the water. And we were able to get away with keeping our face masks down the entire time. I did not. I kept my, well, let me start over. I stuck to what Disney wanted us to do, which was to only keep the face mask down if I was actually physically eating or drinking. Everybody else was like, well, I'm sitting down, so I'm going to pull my face mask down the entire time. And there was actually a few cast members that were over by a table, did not say a word to us. So I was like, okay, well, that's interesting. I guess at Magic Kingdom they're not as strict as they are at Hollywood Studios, but what do I know? We were in a sit-down restaurant too, so I could understand that they would be a little more strict, even if there wasn't really anybody near us at the time either, because Disney is very strict about that whole 50% capacity thing, which is why you have to jump the gun as soon as those reservations for your dining, or those dining reservations for your vacation become available. Get those right away because they're not going to be as available as they would have been prior to the pandemic, especially if it's a restaurant that's like ridiculously popular, like 50's Primetime Cafe or Sci-Fi Dining Theater. Those are going to be a lot harder to get a hold of. Mama Melrose does not seem to be as popular. So that seems to be a restaurant you can easily wait till the last minute to get. And then so on and so forth. Another restaurant I've seen that has not been as popular lately has been Whispering Canyon Cafe over at Wilderness Lodge. I've noticed there have been a lot of reservations for that available lately too. Universal, I would say they were not as strict about face masks as they were about social distancing. Universal really pushed the whole social distancing thing the entire time. This is all stuff I will get into in my next vlog where I will discuss how Disney did it versus how Universal did it. I'm going to do that after I go get ready. This is my last vlog before I go get ready. I just want to get ready just for the sake of getting ready, not that I'm planning on going anywhere or anything. But yeah, Universal pretty much allowed any kind of face mask as long as it wasn't like a costume face mask. And I had to cover your entire face, just like, well, except for your eyes, obviously, you gotta see. At Disney felt the same way. But Universal was a little less strict. They did allow neck gaiters at Universal. So Universal is better about following the CDC guidelines. So don't be afraid to bring some of your favorite face masks to Universal, even if they're the ones that you would not be allowed to wear at Disney. Universal does not care as much. But we'll talk more about how Disney and Universal practice social distancing and stuff like that when I get to my next discussion. I went back to Disney Springs again on the Thursday, and I, of course, had to keep my face mask on the entire time, even when I was on the bus. That will be another thing I will talk about when I get into my next discussion, is how they did the whole seating procedure for the bus. That'll be another interesting one. When we were on the Disney Skyliner, I'm sure they would have expected you to. At this time, Disney Skyliner does not have any cameras on them, like in the cabins themselves. So as soon as we got far enough away from the cast members, pretty much all of us pulled our face masks down. My brother pulled his down just enough that was below his nose. The rest of us all pulled it down the rest of the way. We were like, yeah, freedom. But it was just the four of us in the cabin. It's not like anybody was with us either, so that's why we didn't care. And then I would put mine on as soon as we got close enough. And then everybody else would wait until the literal last minute before they would put theirs on. Surprised that nobody ever noticed. But you know how it is. And then we had to keep our face masks on the entire time we were playing miniature golf. First time I've ever gone miniature golfing with a face mask on. Friday was a pretty laid back day. Didn't really do anything. Didn't really go anywhere either. I think the most I did on the Friday was I met up with my friend Hope Abercrombie at IHOP. I didn't have to wear a face mask in the restaurant. I chose to. I did what I normally would do up here, which was wear my face mask until I got to the table, then take the face mask off, and then I would put it back on as soon as I went to leave. According to my friends down there in the area that I used to live in, that restaurant in particular was not requiring it. You could easily just walk in and just be seated and then or eat your meal and then leave like you normally would. You don't have to worry about a face mask or anything. So that was kind of interesting. I hadn't eaten in the area at a sit down restaurant since last year, so that was the first time in a year that I had eaten at one of those restaurants. And Hope doesn't believe in wearing a face mask either, just like TJ and K. Which you probably noticed that in my YouTube videos that TJ and K did not wear a face mask, and when they did, they either pulled it down all the way below their chin, or they were wearing Trump face masks because they were trying to prove to people that, you know, they're very conservative, and Trump would never have put up with this. So that's how they felt the entire time. I'm neither extremely conservative nor am I extremely liberal either. I'm right in the middle. I don't necessarily completely agree with either side. That's why I consider myself more in the middle. But yeah, that was pretty much what happened on Friday. I think the only major thing that I did on the Friday, I think that was the day I went to the care center. I believe it was because I was one of the weirdos that walked around with a face mask on. I mean, there was a few others that were with me that did. Most people did not. I bumped into TJ's friend from his 912 meeting, which is basically a short for the Winter Haven 912 Project. It's a group of conservatives that are all pro Second Amendment or in favor of guns that all get together, and they all carry on whenever they get together. So the first liberal that shows up there is going to be super sorry for even walking into their meeting, that's for sure. And I am kind of laughing about that because, as I said, I don't completely agree with liberals and I don't completely agree with conservatives either. I'm right in the middle. That's why I consider myself a conservative independent. And when I see her and I told her I stopped going back a couple of years ago, I found their meetings just too conservative for my taste, and I honestly consider I consider TJK and all of their friends at the 912 meeting mostly bigots or whatever. Sorry, that sounds extremely rude, but the best way to put them is they're very big about their beliefs. They like to shove their beliefs down everybody's throats, and if you don't agree with them, they'll cuss you out for it, and they'll yell at you. They're right and you're wrong, so you either have to agree with them or you just walk away and not say a single word to them. That's how they are, and that's why I don't agree with them. That's why I don't go to their stupid 912 meeting, because I don't like to associate myself with people that are very big about their beliefs and want to shove it down people's throats. As a Christian, I don't go around shoving my beliefs down your throats, but I do want to put my faith out there and tell you that I do believe and that I want other people to believe, but I'm not going to sit there and preach to you or anything. I mean, the most I'll do on my YouTube videos is quote Philippians 4:13, my favorite memory verse ever, And that's about as far as I go. Most of the time, I just talk to you guys like I'm right here with you, like one on one. I know there are people out there that might think, yes, David, you are shoving God down my throat. It's like, well, I promise I'm not. So, and I don't really know anybody personally that has ever shoved God down my throat before. Not even my own former pastor has ever done that to me before. I would say that only people that I know personally that shove their beliefs down my throat is TJ and K with their political beliefs, because they're so big about their political beliefs. And they expect you to support Trump, guns, the First Amendment, the freedom of speech, and anybody else that's conservative just as much as they do. And if you don't, then you're an idiot, you're stupid, and any other kind of swear word that's in the swear word dictionary. So, yeah, just keep that in mind about TJ and K if you ever do see them in my YouTube videos again. And just keep in mind that I don't feel the same way as them. I respect you whether you're a liberal or a Democrat. Sorry, what am I saying? I respect you if you're a liberal or you're a Republican. I support you whether you're a Christian, a Mormon, a atheist, or whatever. But I would like to have you hopefully persuade, or I would hopefully like to persuade you to change your ways. Obviously, I'm going to do it the most loving Christian way I possibly can, but I'm not going to force you. God gave us free will. It is not my decision to choose people's lifestyles, and I am trying to change one lifestyle aspect of my life right now, which is from now on, I'm not even going to make my own roommates do the dishes. Like, I used to do that because it was the only literal way to make sure that everybody chipped in and did the dishes and didn't force it on me. And as soon as my friend Christina pointed out my flaw and what it's going to do to me, caused me to potentially be beat up. Not that my roommates might do that, but you never know. I immediately stopped it. So, as a Christian, I believe in respecting others for who they are. I don't respect your sinful ways, obviously, just like I don't respect my own sinful ways, and that I do want to help you find the correct way to live your life. That's why there are some discussion topics that I'm very careful about going into, like abortion, gay marriage, and stuff like that. I don't support either one of those, but that doesn't mean that I don't hate you. I just hate that lifestyle. And I would love to help you go away from that lifestyle as in the most biblical and Christian way I possibly can. But I obviously would never force you to turn away from that. That would have to be your own decision. So that's the biggest difference between me and Kay and TJ, is the fact that I would want to help you, but I wouldn't force you to, and I would still respect you for who you are and for what you believe, versus TJ and Kay, they have no respect for you if you don't believe what they believe. So, yeah, with that being said, that's pretty much my entire discussion. That leaves with Saturday, which was pretty much the same thing as Friday. The only big change was I went to the Strawberry Festival, and I did not have to wear a face mask the entire time I was outside. But as soon as I went to a tent or a building, boom, the face mask went on. TJ and Kay, I think they started to do it at first, but then they got tired of it and just stopped caring. And I didn't really see them enforcing it as much as they said they were going to, so I guess I don't blame them. And that's about it. Yeah, that was a lot longer of a topic than I had pre-imagined it to be. But I hope that this enlightens you guys. I hope this gives you guys an idea of why Kentucky is so strict about face masks. I hope this gives you an idea of why it was such a huge culture shock for me to go from Kentucky to Florida, where they don't care as much, maybe not even at all. And hopefully this gives you an idea of what is the biggest difference between TJK and myself as far as beliefs go. And until then, I will see you guys in the next vlog, where I will talk about or where and when I will talk about how Disney and Universal do things differently with the pandemic. And then, of course, another Life as a Working Disney cast member series. So always remember, you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. Have a great day. Peace out.